Okay, hopefully this is the third and final part. I hope I don't have to do another take. So basically, I was very upset. I had thrown multiple meltdowns before that because, he was basically calling me various different things like that and whatnot. I was like, you know, hard to move on and whatnot. Yeah. Basically, he sent an email to my grandma basically telling me all the things that I did wrong and whatnot, like emotional manipulation and like being immature and whatnot. Basically, it was basically the thing. Before that, I kicked down the door at my grandparents' house because I was very upset because he blocked me and like didn't seem interested again because he thought I was being some kind of insidious monster rather than some other individual because he doesn't know me as a person and whatnot. And basically, I emailed him back using my grandmother's account. I'm not proud of it. So basically, after he sent the message, and my grandma was like, "He's ridiculous. He's less like your dad." And I'll make a video about my dad one day, but for now, I'm just gonna continue with this. He basically was like saying all this slander stuff, and then I pointed out to all the stuff and like even said, "Hey, this is Van and whatnot," because that's my name, of course. And he was like being radio silent and whatnot. And then he basically was like, leave me alone and whatnot. I was basically just spamming his inbox with messages. After the fact, I was making fun of him, calling Mr. Krabs because Mr. Krabs appreciates money because his name is literally the same as Mr. Krabs. Even has the same first initial as for his last name. But that's beside the point. Anyway, what else? Yes, basically, I was just basically harassing him at that point. I just didn't think he would listen, and then I was basically trying to move on. I went on to PayPal and just kind of like sent his thing, and then he said, you can't believe, and then he basically, when I sent him a penny just to, I don't know, block me or whatever, or whatever hell I was doing at that time, he basically said, stop harassing me, and stop using your grandma's account, which you clearly hacked. I was like, that's ridiculous, man. I never hacked my grandma's account. Obviously, this is the internet, and the sensationalism is obviously the case no matter where you go and whatnot. So that's why I'm just saying that. And then I sent again, and then he blocked me, and then I was like extra fuming because of it. After I was on a depressive trip for about a week, and the only way I could do it was watching pirated episodes of Family Guy on YouTube and whatnot. But anyway, basically, Crispy, was basically coming at me full force and basically falsely accusing me of various different things that didn't happen, calling me some kind of freak messed up in the head, even though he didn't personally know me. Obviously, I was just like I said, I've been very nice up to the point, and then basically call him out for his BS, for him slandering me, falsely accusing me of various different things, and also just being an all-around difficult person to work with. And he was like, no, I'm not, because you were the case as well. But to be fair, I think we're both awful people in that situation. But hey, at least I have the leeway of being, younger, but that didn't help the situation. I mean, I should obviously know because, I don't have any leeway in that case. Anyway, basically, he accused me of various different things, like hacking my grandma's account, harassing him and his friends, and also not caring about his well-being, telling him to commit, suicide or whatever for commenting on how he's a dying channel. Various different things, telling me I was banned from ever commissioning any artworks again, and basically a lot of other stuff, basically just falsely accusing me and judging me, and falsely accusing him, worse than the devil, basically. It's really are a criminal, aren't you? I think you're the one who's insane, mister, for thinking all that, brainstorming all that stuff up, because I think you're the one who's also insane, because that's how narcissists usually go. They accuse others of being insincere when they themselves are also to blame in situations and whatnot. So yeah, and that's what happened. for a while, and then a few months later I was just like job searching and like trying to get like the projects and whatnot, certain projects in order to help me get a job, because I was looking for a job at the time. And I was like one day like thinking, I had some unfinished business to do, so maybe I can get my grandma again to do something like, and like she said, I do some soul search, and I told, basically she did talking on my behalf and whatnot, and said Ben has been doing some soul searching and whatnot, and he really thinks you should like give him another chance and whatnot. And he was like, basically ignoring that because he knew that I was trying to crawl back in and try to do that, but I like to think that I was just trying to do some unfinished work and whatnot. But then that's when I snapped again and basically went on another crash out, calling him names and whatnot, victim blaming and telling him all the stuff he did wrong and how he basically, was being totally unreasonable, how we could have had chat and whatnot. It was ridiculous and whatnot. And that's why I'm just saying that, obviously was not a good person in that case. I wasn't even 20 yet, and I still felt like was still being a total a-hole. And yeah, that's how, stuff happened. And, I kept stoking the flames, and, that's where I ended up with this DeviantArt post on me, which basically made me look out like a total monster. But in reality, Crispy also was no better than me. Basically, he took some screenshots out of context, accused me of suicide again, accused me of pretending to be a dead relative, my own grandmother, which there was absolutely no proof, because he knew her name and could have done a background check if needed, because I don't think that would be that hard. He also shamed me for liking things I do, even though I could have sworn he said he was going to draw an SFW as well. And one thing on his DeviantArt page, when I looked up like certain things he was drawing and whatnot, and also basically accused me of a bunch of other stuff that he had literally no proof of besides out of context screenshots. And this, and like I said, this is an expose. This is just my retelling of the story through a less biased lens, in my opinion. Anyway, long story short, I had to get my mother on the case because Christy would just ignore all my messages, and I was feeling even worse for myself because of it. I basically was threatening to commit suicide because of the fact that he was basically being negligent to my mental health. And that obviously was an excuse, because obviously mental health shouldn't be a case, but I was literally considering ending my own life because of some trivial BS online, which is why he just felt so negligent and made him look like even worse in comparison in my eyes. So yeah, that's why I'm just saying. Anyway, eventually my mother, and also I just got aggressive and calling names and whatnot. He also accused me of being schizophrenic and whatnot, even though I could have sworn I've never been schizophrenic. But like I said, he doesn't know me. I don't know him personally and whatnot. And also, I was going to dox him and whatnot, and that was an awful thing to do, and I'm glad I didn't, because I was on his side and I looked up his name and whatnot, and like his dress, and one of his dresses, and that was an awful thing to do. And obviously, I shouldn't have done that, but have considered the thought of doing it. But like I said, he pushed me to my limits and whatnot, and made me look out even worse than him, even though we both, like I said, we were both awful people to each other and whatnot. But anyway, so basically my mother told him that if he didn't delete that post, I was going to sue him and also report him to DeviantArt and whatnot, have that post deleted and give him a strike, and like saying, okay, fine, you win. And then he, of course, having cases of narcissism, said that he only went a little too far, and then like basically went on like a long speech about how that he's not going to talk to me anymore, and I'm not supposed to talk to him. It's basically equivalent to a non-disclosure agreement, which I told him to shut the F up, and I was like, oh, sorry, and being sarcastic and whatnot about that. And I just feel like I kept breaking this quote-unquote non-disclosure agreement and whatnot, so that kind of happened. But anyway, We went our ways and whatnot, and there hasn't been anything, but let me tell you, I was basically struggling mentally ever since because I just didn't feel like I was satisfied to getting the answers I wanted. But basically, I reposted all of that one artist who took down my original DeviantArt accounts, images onto a certain adult site. Obviously, that was a very stupid thing to do, and obviously, I'm surprised I never got in trouble with that. But I did get that account banned as well. But then I kind of just like post a bunch of images, but then I kind of give up multiple times because obviously this site was obviously not good for mental health, and I should just not participate in said things. Obviously, that was probably one of the worst things I ever done, but that's besides the point. Obviously, I can't take it back now, and the person had to change their whole way of like delivering artworks and whatnot. So yeah, obviously that was an awful thing to do, but eye for an eye, I guess. And then, obviously, every time I saw Crispy's name be brought up in some kind of positive light, I was like soured to the bone and whatnot. So basically, I just kind of was like, the guy's an idiot and whatnot. It was like, yeah, that obviously was the case and whatnot. So yeah, I feel like that was obviously not the best thing to look a person. But basically, I sent a bunch of emails and whatnot back to his account on the second account I now have and whatnot. Like one of the emails I sent was basically telling him that, like telling him that I feel bad for him for having to deal with the loss of Nintendo models on Gmod and whatnot because of that whole takedown. Crispy was even mentioned in the Moist Critical video stream highlight that was talking about it. We made like an animation talking about the whole situation. It was like, kind of felt bad for him. And I was hoping we get an email back showing that he, understood and whatnot. But like I said, he doesn't really see me as like some kind of normal person apparently, even though being normal is like boring and, he's kind of a weirdo himself. Everybody's weird in their own way. Like the way he acts and talks and whatnot. When I did talk to him, he just kind of come off as like, I don't know, just kind of a strange individual who talks by literally enunciating his words, sighing, and also just like talking like he was some kind of role-playing character, but that's not here nor there. But anyway, I did kind of predict that Nintendo would strike Gmod and all the models because I was going to send an email prior to that mentioned that. But that was beside the point. I mentioned like his channel would be taken down and then have all those Mario models and whatnot. But I kind of was right. I think Crispy just does like source filmmaker animations now, and I see a bunch of other stuff that involved in like uploads involving the uploading source filmmaker models and what else? Donating to the Pizza Tower Patreon and getting a persona and calling it a brain damage anime character and whatnot because that's what it looked like to me at the time. I don't really know. And maybe very salty, however, because Pizza Tower looked cool, and my bad taste, crispy toast left bad taste in my mouth at the time and whatnot. So yeah, that's why I just kind of wanted to, mess them so badly. And then I eventually did, sometime in, I think, late 2023, mid 2024, somewhere around there. I messaged him basically telling him all the things he did wrong and whatnot. But, that's here nor there. He never replied to that either. And obviously, I'm not surprised he did. But then, I kept seeing his face everywhere, and that just kept making me angrier and angrier for irrational reasons. And it was like, yeah. And then for some godforsaken reason, I decided to send him a video that was basically about saying that how traps were gay and whatnot. This infamous guy who was going on a rant about people that dress up in women's clothing are gay and how it's not heterosexual and not, and basically just then say doing it to vent and whatnot, and somehow that was venting, and it's like, what's the matter with me? I mean, just pretend that previous message was the thing and whatnot. And then I sent him another message, basically saying pretend that was the case and whatnot. So yeah. And then I posted it, and then not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago, I think at this point, or a month or two ago, I posted a vent post on DeviantArt on my new account because my previous one was banned, and I don't think this was ban evasion, but if DeviantArt decides to delete it, then so be it. But anyway, it was basically just going over the same things I was just talking here, but this was more in depth on my side and trying to be less biased here, because Crispy was being way more biased in his DeviantArt post expose about me, and I even sent him a vent sent him an email thing that I made that post and whatnot on DeviantArt on their new account, but I didn't tell him anything about it otherwise because I blocked him on there and whatnot, and obviously I was just very salty about it, but, you know, obviously the case. And the reason why I decided to make this series of videos today is just because I saw his name once again, and, like, apparently there was most popular video, Luigi's Night at Freddy's video, reanimated, which I think is just kind of ridiculous thing to be mad about, but because that's pretty much just a bunch of other Gmod animators reanimating the video and their styles and whatnot, because that's what I believe that was the case, because like I said, Crispy's animations don't involve voice acting, instead just voice clips. But that's besides the point. And here we are today. I'm just making these final vent video, and this should be the last one, hopefully. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but hopefully this at least will get me closer to finding a, you know, inner peace with myself, because I just really need to move on from this. So obviously expect more Turkey Tom slander videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.